So that's when they're cutting in line, but still people outside that didn't
Want to get their first beer.
So that's what we're trying to watch this a little bit. I mean, after those first 20 minutes, when the last person had his beer, then we're all good. But sometimes it's crazy. People think they're going to show us that they can drink 3 beers in 10 minutes. But hey, I believe you, but nobody can.
Everybody can, but can you handle it another 10 minutes later is the whole thing.
That's right.
Hey, who's the guy on the wall? That's the 3 beer guy. What beer goes first? I mean, I noticed that you guys seem to have, kind of, one tap rotates a little bit, maybe a seasonal, a special, that, I think that's the Irish Red that we've got right now, that you guys have instead of the Amber. So what seems to be consumed the most?
Consumed. Usually it's the seasonal beer. We come out with a new seasonal. I mean, that's the tap that most people go for. And let's be honest, for $5 on a Saturday morning,
all in.
I mean, come on, you can beat that. Best deal in the Metroplex probably. And if you bring a new beer out, that's what people do at first.
Right on.
So, but I mean, warm weather, the lighter beers go a little bit quicker, but usually the seasonal beers go super smooth.
I'll say this Dunkel is one beer that we can never rotate out for the seasonal beer because people get angry when the Dunkel.
What if it's not there?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
People that come here specifically for Dunkel, and Dunkel's not here, they're not going to be happy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff right there, yeah. We'll just go ahead and
We actually call it the Drunkle. So.
Go on. And I got a chance to try the triple jungle. That was the first time I had it. It was when I was here for that tour a little bit ago. And now that you guys do have it bottled, that's awesome because I went and bought some after the fact. But man, that is a seriously strong beer. But it's awesome how it's a dark beer, yet you don't get a lot of the, what you think of dark beer. You think of Guinness and you're like, oh man, it's so thick in my throat. But you don't get that with that because, and we'll get to it, it's obviously the brewing process, the type of beer it is, and all that kind of stuff. But, so your great-grandfather?
Great-grandfather, yes.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't taken the tour, have taken the tour, you learn right away that his family, what's that?
I think great-great-grandpa's on my back.
He might be. So he's definitely in the building. We've come to find out. So
he's in the building, yes.
Yeah, it's like, and so I'm like, oh, he's in the building. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, there's got to be some cool thing. He's like, he's in the building. So I immediately just start looking around, and Dennis at the time is standing right in front of that wall of glasses and steins, and I go, he's in a stein. He's got to be in a stein. He's got ashes or something. He's got to be in a stein.
And it's actually the one with the lid on it. It's the lid on it, so,
And then unfortunately, Dennis goes, he's right there on the side. And I'm like, oh man, you just killed it for me. I was totally waiting for this like ghost story of like how you turn the lights off and it's like great-grandfather in a stein.
Well, there's actually a really funny story about this. A few months back, I gave a tour on a Saturday morning, and we've been really busy in production. So my father-in-law actually helped out, who is granddad of my son, obviously. So he helped out, and he was in the cooler filling beer for us while I was giving the tour. So I gave the usual spill. I talked about my great-great-grandfather. It pointed to the door where he's featured on the picture, right? So at the moment I feature on there, and about 150 people tune to the door to look at my great-grandfather, my father-in-law opens the door and is standing right in the front. I mean, he knew exactly what was going on, but it was funny. I mean, everybody was, oh my God!
It's alive! And it walks.
What's the line?
Okay. Reinheitsgebot, right?
Yes.
Pronounce it for me. Say it. Just
Reinheitsgebot.
how much does he on a daily basis make you kind of like repeat it so that it's just ingrained?
Yeah, I think before I was ever allowed to walk in the door here, it was kind of understood that was going to be the way things were.
Okay. All right. So that's obviously a German word, and before I totally screw it up about exactly what it stands for, tell us about that the Reinheitsgebot and what that means to you, because obviously the way you run your brewery, it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, Reinheitsgebot for us means it is the oldest food law out there, and it's kind of original from Germany. So,
1560.
in Germany, beer is food for sure, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So, and yeah, it's the oldest food law out there, and pretty much states that we're only allowed to use 4 ingredients to brew beer with, which is malted barley, water, hops, and yeast.
Okay.
And
It's rabbit food.
this is it's actually funny. It's guys, those are hot pellets, and people always ask me, hey, that was like something Arabic belief behind them, and I have to agree with that.
It's in your beer.
You know, it's in your beer, but the truth is, it's actually just shredded hops, so there's nothing bad about it. Yeah, but the Pure law here in Franconia is really big. We're really proud of that. We make all our beers only out of those 4 ingredients. For us, it's more challenging to make different beers, different flavors of beers out of 4 ingredients, as if we would use some flavors and aromas or fruit additions or spice additions to put in it to make the beer taste, you know, what we're looking for. Which I think it's more challenging for us to work that way. So, which doesn't mean that, you know, we had for our anniversary year, we did a few off beers where we, you know, went a little bit further out, and well, in the morning when we started that, I put a black towel over the Juden law on the wall, and I left the door and I told Cam, hey, it's your place for today, and I'm out. So
he turned around, I ran everything for the day, he just pretended that nothing actually happened.
Nice.
That's right.
He didn't race Tuesday from this full week.
And that was actually going to be one of my questions was do you still follow that law, and have you ever had any mishaps? It was kind of like the way I was looking at it, and I guess mishaps is, you know, adjustments. And so obviously there are times maybe where you guys were to try something different, and it was a success when you did that. Like, how did you guys, you know, how did Cam feel about that day at the brewery, and what you guys produced?
Well, the one that probably we deferred from the Gurney Law the most was the Oak Scout.
yeah.
Okay.
It had flaked oats and flaked barley and other things that weren't necessarily part of the Gurney Law. The beer went over really, really well.
Okay.
People seemed to really enjoy it. We kept it on tap a few places for quite a while. As far as brewing that day, there's probably a reason that Brewers Society didn't want to use flaked oats and flaked barley in the brewing process because it was a pain in the day.
Okay. A lot of dust in the air.
A lot of dust in the air, lots of slow moving liquid. I mean, imagine trying to squeeze the water out of a bowl of oatmeal. So that's what I was dealing with that day.
That doesn't sound fun. I don't think I want to be doing that. What about a penalty for not following the Reinheitsgebot? There actually was a penalty for that back in the day, and obviously, you know, there are times when you guys go about that. Is it just morals for you guys, or for you, Dennis, and for your employees here, that you guys follow that beer brewery law still? Or, I mean, is there some actual larger verification system of that for following the Reinheitsgebot?
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it is a piece of pride in Germany for the brewers to brew their beer to the Pure law. All the breweries in Germany still brew strict to it. I think I can put my hand in the fire for that. Germany was, until a few years back, was actually got the law changed a little bit, so beers are allowed to come into Germany. They are not brewed to the Pure law, but everything that's produced still has to be produced due to the German Pure law.
And that's Germany. That's not like a certain area.
No, that's German. Correct.
All right, that's serious beer making.
Yes, penalties. I don't really think that there are real penalties for it because it's just what everybody's doing, and we're proud in doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really haven't heard about anybody who got in trouble for it before. Here in Franconia, I don't really have to worry about it, because I think I know what's coming into this building and I know what's going out of this building.
He gets the receipts for everything.
So, exactly.
He knows what's in here.
So,
Tuesday I was going, you ordered a lot of extra stuff.
yeah, the thing is, I keep his paycheck really low, so he can't afford buying anything on his own and bringing it in here. So that's a way to keep us a little bit under control.
Does he also make sure you have like a really nice house because you can't afford more than an
Pretty much,
apartment?
yeah. The grain bags make really, really nice beds.
I can imagine though, after maybe a night of tasting something that you just created, something new, and you may find a way to just instead of the pallets, if you're going to go down and find the grain bags and see, I'll be here in the morning, right here. And just have a
It's a
good
lot
day.
easier to get up and start the next day. Like, oh, at least I'm gonna walk out the door right now.
So process-wise, and again, as you're here for the tour, you kind of start back there by the map and you take everybody into the fermentation room here, where you do all of the goods. But I guess to just say it, what's your biggest secret back there?
Do we want to tell them?
Don't look behind the big green door.
Or don't go in the big door. You don't come back to the big door.
we do have a big gray door. It says chat room on it.
Chad?
Chat room.
Chat room. Sounds like a word with letters that could mean other things.
That's exactly. You got it. You got it. So if you want to chat with me about our biggest secret, we got to get in the chat room.
That sounds dirty. I don't know if I'm into that. Cover the chat room. Let's see.
It's your choice.
It's kind of it's kind of hard to have secrets when everybody knows what our own ingredients are. So
Yeah.
I think we kind of keep it pretty open with this. Hey, our biggest secret is the different temperatures that we use.
Yeah.
And that's how we manipulate the ingredients to get all those flavors that we don't need spices to get.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Like I told you, I sent you a couple pictures. I was buying variety packs for some of my friends when I was going to Oklahoma after that. And so, of course, I had to try them all again to make sure that I was like giving him beers that I enjoyed. And that was one things I noticed is trying all that you have through your variety pack is how many flavors you get. And then I remembered you talking about the different temperatures, and you're like, that's the one thing, we just don't ever talk about. That's your biggest secret is where you
Yeah, I think what is a misperception with a lot of people, or it sometimes gets treated like this in the market too. That we hear a lot people saying, "Hey man, this is really great. Brewing beer must be art, or you guys are artists." I always have a slight disagreement with that because I really think that 80% of brewing beer is pretty much science. We pretty much know what we are doing, and 20% or the remaining 20%, I would say, is art. And this is exactly where this is coming in now. So, playing with your temperatures, playing with your malts, with the hops, with the water. So this is where you can play with it and how you put it together. It's maybe 20% art, but the majority of brewing beer is science, and I think we all know what we're doing.
So how many times a day does Cam say he's going to go play with it in the back and just try to start figuring it
I
out?
do not want to know when he's playing with it. Whenever he plays with it, I don't need to know that.
Seeing how you can change it up, Cam?
There are very few people that actually work in the brewery. There's only a few of us, so I do get a lot of practice time.
Well, there you go. It's like he doesn't tell anybody he's coming back here. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna tell myself. It's that time.
I mean, you lead it into this, so.
I'm fine with it. Oh, do you have a story? It seemed like you were about to walk off the edge with something.
Hey, I like vlogs. I mean,
Man, this place, there's no pants on when you guys are working. Look, you're like walking here when they're working, and it's just like, whoa, it's interesting. I don't know what's going on. So again, when we were kind of made it over to that section, there was one of the fun parts we talked about is people going to the gym. And then there are protein shakes that they drink. So, is it because of the fact that your beer is so pure in the sense of like the minimum amount of ingredients that you guys use, that with that you guys get?
take a sip.
I know. I need to lubricate.
Here we go.
With the minimum amount of ingredients that you guys use, is that kind of why you feel like that would be such a good protein drink in that sense, or like?
No, I use that.
Obviously, we know it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, there is something to it.
No, absolutely, there is. I mean, we all drink beer because we like the taste of the beer and we like the varieties of the beer. But what I'm trying to do is really to educate people on, which every time I say it, people laugh, but it's true. Beer is actually a healthy beverage. And so pointing the proteins out, and if you think about the core ingredients we're using, they're exactly, except for the hops, the exactly same ingredients like bread. So, I mean, you got a lot of nutritions in there in beer, and protein is one of them. So I always bring a little example out about people go to the gym and do a workout and drinking protein shakes, exactly, and want to look like an Italian stallion. Obviously, you know who I'm talking about. So, so I mean, it's one thing leads into another here every Saturday, and I think it's really great. It's fun for the people, and when the tour is over and people come over and they want to know more about it, so it opens up conversations and lets people know, hey, aside of drinking a good tasting beverage, it's actually healthy too.
Has anybody ever broke out in a push-up competition because they're like, oh, well, this is good, I need to work out, that way I can drink some more beer, and kind of like protein deal that you're working with?
Can you tell? just looking at me?
I mean, I was going to see if we could have that happen later between you and Cam, but obviously Cam would feel belittled. I don't know who's going to win here.
I think he would win because he's in much better shape as I am.
I do against some of that.
I think now we're going to have to see that.
That is big bad decision.
I think it's going to happen. But of course, we'll do that later when only the people that got to come to the show
after
see
the
it.
cameras are off, right?
Or, yes, when the cameras are off. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So when you guys, we talked a little bit about it, and maybe the answer to this question is you just make sure Dennis isn't here. And if that's the case, that's what it is. But what do you guys, how do you guys try new ingredients, new recipes, things like that? Like, what do you get inspired from to do that when you're trying to come up with something seasonal, a new thing?
You forgot something really important. There are no new ingredients. We only have 4. Sorry, I have to
slap on the wrist.
I have to slap it.
I'm gonna have to drink for that. So okay, but when you're coming up with new recipes, you are obviously still doing that, using
Yes.
4 ingredients that would just slap me on the wrist for. So yeah, where do you pull inspiration from that, or new temperatures, or new processes for creating these?
That's pretty much conversations between Ken and myself. We just
Is this during the pants off point?
it's after.
Okay.
Yeah, after we relax, we're getting into those conversations.
Yes.
So,
Yes, you are.
cheers. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm in the middle of these guys right now. These pants have 2 buttons, by the way. Just very secure right now.
No, seriously, we just talk about it. What we're planning to do and where the product should be when it's done. And I have to disappoint here a lot of people. We don't do any test batches. Usually, again, beer for us is more science than anything else. So we sit down, we decide what we want, what the beer should taste like, what it should look like, and we pretty much write it out on the paper, get to the math to it, and settle it down and order what we need and get it started.
Our most recent test batch was the Irish Ale, which ended up in several kegs out of several bars for St. Patty's Day. So the smallest thing that we do is pretty much full-size batch of beer.
And that's what I'm consuming right now, which is fantastic. First time I tried it today. Was that was you guys kind of to the process that he just said? That's how you guys figured it out to make it. You went into it with a full batch like that, and then all of a sudden it's disappeared off the shelves because guys like Chris are just like having a great time on St. Patty's Day.
We sat down, we talked about what we wanted to have in the final product, and as long as you know your ingredients, you know the grains and the hops and everything that you're working with well enough, you can pretty much imagine what the final product is going to taste like before you ever turn the brew system on.
Right.
And like I said, a lot of science goes into it. So as long as you know what you're working with, then the art comes into it. You know what flavors and what ingredients you want to throw together, but you know what the final product is going to end up like. So we're not afraid to make a full-size batch of beer. We can a 10-gallon or 15-gallon batch or something. We can make a full-size batch of beer and be confident that it's gonna be enjoyable for everybody out there.
I like it. Because I don't even know what is a full-size batch of beer to you guys. How many gallons is that?
Well, there's 31.
There's
Hundreds.
Lots and lots of beer.
it's about 935 gallons. We are doing 25 barrel batches.
I think that's officially a metric shit ton.
I like that word.
Yeah, that's how much beer we make. We make a metric shit ton.
I think we're gonna make a sign and put that in our order.
Every time anybody asks us from now on, how much beer you going? The metric shit. That's an official
So you're welcome.
thing, right?
If we didn't get anything else out of the day, there we go. We got a metric shit ton sign.
Actually, I gotta change my typical answer because people always want to know how much beer we are brewing, and I never answer that question. My question is, or my answer is always a lot, but not enough. But I think that was
Gee, well, I mean, my dad really only ever lied to me about that before, so thank you. It feels good to have somebody else on there. So let's talk about the valves and all the pipes that are just strewn about the area, and guys like myself who have
I know exactly where you're
consumed 3 beers in 10 minutes, and we're like, yeah, it's a competition.
I
Oh,
know.
look, there's a thing I can put my mouth on.
Yes, I know
So
exactly.
you immediately tell everybody, I do not drink out of the valves and pipes.
Yes.
And that is a thing. You tell people that.
Yes, I
And
do.
just like the roadies, I just
I do.
feel like there's a story there.
Just like the stupid warning labels on the ladders, that there's a reason that they're there.
So, please digress.
There's this joke out there. The quickest way how he can harm another person is you just take the warning labels off of everything. And we literally learned this the hard.
Isn't that actually survival of the fittest?
Yes, it is. We actually had a very interesting experience a few years back. We had a group of college kids in here. They came to the tour, and I don't know if they just wanted to have fun or what the deal was, but they literally went in our fermentation room while the tour was over, and this one guy just lay down under one of the fermenters and put his mouth right over this bottom valve, and he just opened it up. And I mean, it was the stupidest thing he could do, because unfortunately, there are 25 to 30 barrel beer above of you now, and
It's called gravity.
under probably 25 psi. So he took a big bath in beer, and they thought it was kind of funny. I did not thought it was funny, so I had to kick them out of this place, and I think he wetted himself in 2 different ways. If that makes sense. So
There's only so many orifices, so yes.
that's true. But now here comes actually the fun part. About a week later, I went to a party at my neighbor's house, and we talked about breweries, and which is weird. Every time I go somewhere, people always ask me about the brewery and the beer.
And you're like, can I talk about the weather?
Yes, exactly. But
Not at work.
so my neighbor kid comes over and introduces me to one of his coworkers, and so we're talking about the brewery and the brewery tour, and I tell him about the story, what happened the week before, about those college kids, and before I even finished that story, and I used that word, this right? Everybody knows which word I mean, right? Unfortunately, the guy I just got introduced to told me, yeah, I think that was my son. I heard this story before. And that was kind of an awkward moment, but, so from that day on, we just made sure before we let people in to keep their fingers off the valves and the pipes, and nothing happened.
I mean, that is just Were you there when that happened? Like, were you... Or were you still sleeping?
I wasn't there, but I made the mistake of opening up one of those valves when you're standing right in front of it. Just in the course of brewing throughout the day. And I mean, just imagine trying to get a drink out of a fire hose instead of a water fountain. So
Did that guy have any scars? I mean, not internal, but but that could jack him up.
I don't know if it would check him out, but I think it was enough that
He's probably gonna drink water for a while.
Probably. He may have some problems swallowing it.
Well, that's no good for anybody.
No.
So homebrewers, let's just open it up, because I will say I'm not a home brewer. That's okay. I'm just gonna drink your really good beer because you spent a lot of time making it, and I think it tastes awesome. So that's what's gonna happen. But what kind of questions are you asked the most by homebrewers? And I can only imagine while you're at these parties, like you say, you can't not talk about brewing. So what kind of stuff's going on? What do they ask?
The most frequent question I'm getting is, would you be willing to try my beer and tell me what you think about it?
Really?
Literally, that's the question I'm getting all the time. And then from there, if you do that, then it's going into brewing techniques, and they want to have more in-depth answers and questions. But the first question literally is, man, can I bring you some samples? Would you be willing to try it and tell me what you think?
And you seem to be a very honest guy.
Yeah,
So
I'm
when
pretty
people
sure. I'm
do
pretty sure.
bring beer, do you try it, or does it go straight in the sink?
No, I think we're
Usually try it.
trying to be pretty fair and try them all we're getting, and we're trying to give really good and
some of
reasonable
them are
feedback.
really good.
Yes, some of them are really good.
If there were this many that showed up, this many would be good. Well, don't worry. I'm never going to come to you and ask you to try my homebrew because I'm not going to try that.
Well, let me ask you. I got a
Oh.
shelf in there with homebrew beers on it. We still have to try. Are you willing to try one?
I mean, I guess. Like right now, we're going to just do it later.
Right now, yeah.
We still have some in there from.
Right now.
Yeah.
If Tim,
Tim who?
Sean, John, your gentleman friend.
Haven't understood.
Yeah. Oh well, there was a gentleman running around. He had a hat on, the cool glass. I was talking to him earlier.
I think he left.
Tim. Yeah. Okay. I'm not an idiot. Tim. Well, I had his name right. Let's say that. Tim. Oh, did he leave?
I think he left.
I was gonna say he could easily go get one of those, and I could try it and give my non-beer nerd review
I
of
don't
it
see him.
and see what happens. That's okay.
I see his half empty cup over
Yep,
there.
there it is. That guy. Steven's gonna go get it, or he's gonna go beat somebody up. I don't know. He looks
No, I
like
think he left.
he might be angry. Okay, so that, I think that's really interesting in the fact that you want to try my beer. But I can imagine being a big dirt bike racer and all that kind of stuff, I'm always asking for tips. So I can only imagine that it's the same kind of thing. Like I'm just, and they're not trying to, waste your time. But sometimes that probably can be overwhelming. The fact.
No,
that
I
that's kind of
mean, the interesting fact is that home brewing is pretty much the way to get into professional brewing here in the States. This is pretty much how most breweries start up here.
Okay.
So the people, the home brewers, they're serious, and it's a really good community, and it's good for us too, because to be really honest, whatever I learned 10, 15 years at the university, I probably know only a third of it, or remember a third of it. So
Which
sometimes
is like anything from college, honestly.
yeah, the other 2/3 I drank away. So
I think I'm about an eighth.
an eighth,
And I might remember an eighth.
an eighth.
I know where I went to college. It's a good start, right?
That is a good start, and you probably know all the girls' names that you know.
No.
No?
I mean, I married my wife. She's a Texan, and I didn't go to college in Texas, so it's okay that I don't remember any of the names.
I married a Texan too. She's half Texan, half German.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you work that one out? Or is she just half German now because you're married to her?
No. She was half German before that too. And I thought.
What about you, Cam? Do you have a half German woman in your life?
I don't have a half German woman in my life. I have a woman in my life, but she's all American.
I'm sure you're writing a song right now. All right, so as we kind of start to wrap it up a little bit, what are the big plans for 2015? We've talked about some of the stuff that you guys have done, some of the seasonals that you guys make, what you guys brew. I mean, what's kind of coming up for you guys that really is either important, just cool you're working on, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Our seasonals are ramping up as usual. We're just getting out of the Pilsner. We'll get into the Maybach here just in a few days. After that, followed by the Crystal Weizen and, well, our biggest seasonal, the Oktoberfest. Unfortunately, we are bringing the double IPA back, which is, well, if you...
I want to know
The
more.
most un-German beer that
I
we
want to know
make.
more, yeah.
Yes, the most un-German beer we make.
Another one that Dennis just kind of turns his back on.
I literally do. I'm personally not an IPA guy. But
You don't like it when you're like most of you have to like work it down your throat?
no,
The beer.
I don't even try. I don't even try to get it
Most of
down.
our beers take a couple pounds of pasta.
Yeah.
Double IPA takes a half a pound.
I don't know math, but that sounds like more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I see is the numbers on my bank account. Double IPA.
He
He's in
comes back. He
pounds.
comes back.
Yeah, he's in pounds and I'm in dollars. So now we're bringing it back. Originally, I said that last time we did it was the last time, and I'm not gonna do it again. But I had a friend of mine. He loved the IPA, and he tried to talk me into it. And I was really hard to stand up for myself. I said, no, I'm not gonna do it. So then he challenged me to a bowling game a few months back, and well, not knowing that he is more or less a professional bowler, I
He
thought,
made his own ball and shoot.
yeah, exactly. you know. So, but well, we.
Wait, I have to ask, before he bowled, did he get like a rag and like jerk the ball around and like clean it? Because that's the coolest on TV when that happens.
Well, funny thing is, he didn't even have to do that.
He had a guy do it for him?
Yeah.
He had a guy clean his balls. This is interesting.
Whoa, wait a minute. Are we switching this over?
No. Cam, stop trying to change the subject.
I want to see if this works real quick.
Yeah. Good idea. Hold on.
I like all the guys all the guys who want a paycheck show up.
Yeah, that's weird. They all wear Franconia shirts.
We'll try.
You
promise that until it shows up.
So, no, I mean, I miserably lost that game, honestly, so, and here we are, so I'm sticking to my word, and WIPA is coming back, so we'll be out in a few weeks again, and hopefully after that we are done with it. So, anybody else wants to challenge me in a bowling game here?
Oh, she's taking you on.
She's taking me on? You know?
I think that's a good thing.
Me either. Me either.
Yeah. If a woman ever tells you she has her own balls, walk the other way. You're like, You don't know what you're in for.
No.
I mean, I would assume you don't know what you're in for.
Thank you very much.
So, double
Tim Cowan.
That's Tim. See, there's a Tim. I knew.
Oh, shoot. Tim, I blew your cover. Sorry about that.
I knew it.
Next time I want to see you in your sexy skirt coming out here, okay?
As long as he doesn't sit in the front, because
Sorry about that.
it's not good for me when they forget they have a skirt on. This is never fun.
It's never fun.
So the double IPA, you're gonna bring that back. That's a day that he's not here. What else you got in store while he's off and about, not at the brewery?
I mean, aside from the hand brewing,
Man, I'm not against it. It just sounds like you could get burned.
yeah, that's why we had one people say we can balance it back to burning. I got burn. No,
Right there,
no,
yeah.
I'm busy with making beer and keeping the customers happy right now.
Right on.
So, I'm making whatever I have to make back there every
Cool.
day.
No, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I know that we didn't really know what kind of audience we would get, and if there's anybody out there that's got questions that I didn't either cover or you wanted to know answers to, Dennis does have favorite colors. Cam obviously has hair techniques. Those kinds of things can be answered too. And if we have them, great. If not, then that's okay. We can kind of move forward. So what do you think? Yep. I mean, you always have questions.
Sure. What's your favorite beers to brew and to take as well?
I guess that's a question for me.
Sure. I'll be that guy.
Well, I don't know. Kind of favorite beer to brew and favorite beer to intake is a lot of the we wrapped up. I love brewing the Dunkel. I love drinking the Dunkel. Dunkel's kind of my go-to beer. Wheat is kind of Dennis's go-to beer. I hate brewing wheat beer. It can take twice as long as brewing any other beer. Wheat just doesn't want to be brewed with. But no, I really enjoy the Dunkel. It's always a great smelling brew day, nice and roasty and chocolatey in the brew house. Tends to be a nice, easy brew day most of the time. It's one of my favorite beers to drink. It's a nice, for a dark beer, it's super, super easy drinking, drinkable. It has a lot of drinkability or whatever, I guess. But no, I say sometimes if I were stuck with one beer forever and it had to be only one beer, it's probably going to be my go-to right there. That's my definition of beer.
All right. Secondary, if Dunkel is your favorite, how did the double IPA come about?
That's his second favorite?
Double IPA came about, I think double IPA probably came about more due to market pressures than anything else. Craft brewing getting more and more popular in the area. We've just kind of followed the wave that has ridden in from the West Coast where hops seem to reign supreme. I think it's kind of starting to fall aside now a little bit more towards the bourbon barrel age type of stuff. But hops are kind of just the first thing that a lot of craft beer drinkers tend to grab onto, I think. And so a lot of other breweries opening up and more craft brewers coming into the market demanding to have an IPA out there. We still put our little German kind of spin on it. It's still got a fairly malty backbone to it, a fair amount of sweetness, not like your average run-of-the-mill everyday double IPA or anything. But you make what you want to make most of the time, and then you make what other people want you to make some of the time. And as long as you're keeping it up to your standards, hopefully it all comes out as good beer.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. What about you?
Well, my favorite is, like Kim said, wheat. I just grew up with wheat beers, and
6 years old, right, in the brewery?
it's, yeah, 6 years old, and you know the flavor and the aromas coming out of the wheat, especially during the fermentation. If you walk in a brewery and open the doors and there's wheat in full fermentation, the brewery literally smells like banana and oranges, and it's just stuck in my head. I love it. As Kim said, they're pretty hard to brew. You have sometimes really hard runoffs with it, which can make the day really long. That's why I'm happy that I don't have to brew it anymore, so I can just enjoy it. So I happily worked myself out of that position. But Kim is doing a fabulous job, and to answer your question, you're probably going to ask me anyways, what beer do I have in my refrigerator at my house? The majority is Franconia wheat, and then probably 10 other wheat beers, and that's pretty much it.
So to play off of that, which I don't think you realized that I was going to ask, is what beer does your wife have in the fridge at home?
My wife doesn't have a fridge at home.
Drop the mic.
No, to be really honest, I think that's why my wife and I get along so well.
The half German in her is all weak.
No, the half German in her is not liking beer. So
She's the container.
we're the exact opposite from each other. So and I think that's really good. So
And I'll say, as far as the refrigerator probably goes, I've heard it said several times before, any good brewer is going to have at least as many refrigerators in his house as he has TVs in his house.
don't go any further than that.
So how many refrigerators?
That's not how many TVs I got if you leave it right.
Just enough to have a good time. Well, cool. I mean, if you guys have any more questions, you're free to ask them. Yeah, go ahead.
Not knowing anything about brewing beer, what makes a dark beer dark versus a light beer? Just manipulation of your core ingredients?
Okay, yes. Very good question, and really, really happy to answer this in connection with our Puritan law. So we don't add anything into it to get the color. Like you can see here in our little display, malt is pretty much germinated barley, and you soak the barley in water so the barley absorbs some water, and then you germinate it, and you got to stop the germination process. The way how you stop the germination process after a few days is you pretty much dry that barley by blowing warm hot air through the barley. So it's laying on the screen and they're blowing air through it. And now, depend on the time and the temperature they're using to dry it, you can actually roast the barley, which is similar to roasting a coffee bean. So you can see here in this glass pretty good. We have on the bottom what we call a pale malt. So it's a really lightly roasted or dried barley. And then we got darker roasts, which you see in the top of this glass here. So they pretty much look otherwise like a coffee bean. And there are different roasting stages, so you can blend them together, and depend on the percentage ratio how you blend them together, you are able to put different colors in it. So and this is again where the 80% science is coming in. We know what the roasting stages of the different malts we're getting in, so we can pretty much exactly calculate how much barley we need of each roast and how many percent we need to blend it.
We can figure out if we're going to get golden, or we're going to get red, or we're going to get black.
Doc. Well, cool. Any other questions out there? Yeah, Becca's hand is in the air.
So, jumping on his question, is there ever a day where you just want to have a good Bud Light?
So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that this is ever. So she wants to know if there's ever a day when they want to have a good Bud Light.
Nice. Okay.
There's not a good Bud Light.
Okay. Okay. Stop.
Or keep going.
No, to be really honest, I really like this question. I really like this question.
He hasn't felt the nerve to say fuck no yet.
No, seriously, I do appreciate that question. Let me answer this in a few different steps here. Let me answer this question at first that way. Every time I say that, people don't believe me, but in my whole life, I literally never had a Bud, Miller, or Coors Light. I never touched one. I don't know what they taste like. I just believe what people tell me, okay? So in that matter, no, I never had a grade for a good Bud Light, what you just called it. So, on a second note, you know, it is really interesting that this fight between craft beer and beer nerds and the domestic beers, and you know, it's actually getting really interesting. I personally think whatever you as a consumer like is good for you, and it's probably the best product for you, and that's the norm. I mean, it should be that way. We humans all taste different, so I don't think we should discuss this, right? But you see, that's yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I got stuck on this now. Interesting part is, and I think that's what your question really was. I think you're going after that commercial Budweiser just put out a few weeks for Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
You know, people ask me, what do you think about this commercial, where pretty much Budweiser now was making fun about the craft beer scene. And you know what? Every time people ask me what I think about this commercial, I say, you know what? I love this commercial. And then people are like, well, oh my God, how can you say that? But let's think about it. First of all, what did they do? They advertised beer. So beer overall, you got to understand that the craft beer is going up in percentage, but the overall beer consumption is going down, and wine is liquor is going up. So what they did, they spent all their money in a 1-minute commercial advertising beer, because now all of a sudden everybody talked about beer. So that's what I thought was really good. On another note, it was interesting how all those craft beer enthusiasts reacted to it. Because everybody felt like, oh, look what they do to us, they stepped on our feet, but, well, what are we doing to them every day? You know, we're making fun about them every day, so now they did it to us. Well, unfortunately, they had $9 million to put in a one-minute Super Bowl commercial. Hey, more power to them. So at the same time, they advertised our product too. So I thought it was a win-win situation for both. And if you have a craving for a good Bud Light, hey, more power to you. I can tell you, you're not going to find a Bud Light in this building, but if you get a craving, I'm sure you will find one at the gas station around the corner. So.
Did you say beer consumption is going down?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Overall beer consumption is actually going down.
I don't see that among my friends.
That's because after 3, we don't really see much.
I think I'm going to hang out more with you. So. No, it is really true. The market share on the alcoholic beverage, the liquor and wine is actually gaining, and beer is actually going down. But the craft beer, from the beer consumption, craft beer is picking up compared to the domestic.
Craziness. What do you think about the?
Bud Light.
Well, okay, so I was gonna say.
Why are we advertising Bud Light on here?
I blame her. I blame the lady in the audience.
Amy InBev, can we please get a $9 million check for this here?
Yeah,
Bud Light was the reason that I didn't like beer and had absolutely no interest.
you're like, I'm a liquor guy.
I luckily enough had buddies that moved up to Colorado right after high school and introduced me to good beer when I went up to visit them. And we really couldn't get good beer down here in North Texas.
This is true.
Shiner was about as good as it got down here. So I started making beer on my own, eventually went to brewing school and got it out here in Franconia. So it didn't work for being introduced to something other than Bud Light. I would have never even started drinking or appreciating beer.
Better beer.
It's the end time beer as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If it had been for that, I would have never been.
Now, I do have to say though, in that commercial that you talked about, there's a gentleman, what, 8, 10, 12 seconds in, and he has
You look better as
a
you do.
very good mustache.
You look better as you do.
like on point. I mean, so how do I compare?
That was a Budweiser.
How do I compare though? I have to ask. I don't typically get a crap.
Well,
I just wax it.
Well,
and
I'm
go,
just guessing. I'm just guessing. I guess
full
that guy had this beer done professionally for that commercial, and he
That
thought
was
this.
mustache extension.
Exactly, it was extension. And it was
You
probably.
can touch it. It's real.
And it was probably $1 million out of that $9 million budget they had.
Was for his mustache.
Probably.
My
so-
mustache is totally not worth $1 million.
You see? I think
It should be.
It
Now we're learning
That's
things. I like it. We're figuring stuff out here. I like it. Well, cool. Any other random fun questions? Yes, no, maybe so? Wait. You've already asked one. We're going to go to the lady in the
No,
back.
please.
She is way better looking than you.
Go to the gal, please.
What's up, Jack? Let's bring it.
If you were a beer, what type of beer would you be, and would you drink yourself?
I like it. So are you, if you were a beer, what type of beer would you be, and would you drink yourself?
Soul.
If I was a bear,
If I was a beer,
I don't know. I think I'd be a drunk as a dunkle.
I'm not gonna like you when you're upside down.
And I'll definitely drink some. I'll be the tastiest bear ever.
I like it. Well,
Oh, that question was for me as well?
we're just gonna open it up to the
Get
floor.
a little existential about it.
Well,
Let's open it up, man.
like I said, I like wheat, so I probably would be a wheat beer too. And because wheat beers taste like bananas, or should taste like bananas, I would definitely peel myself, yeah, for sure.
I like it. I like it. Brandon, are you okay with him not having pants on?
I'm supposed to have pants on?
Obviously, we're at that point, and we're having a great night. It's just a good time. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out. Obviously, this was our first attempt at this. So far, obviously, we've had a little bit of kinks, and things have gone one way or the other, but obviously, the Cam, thank you very much for taking the time to come on here and have a few beers with us and talk about your process, of course. And Dennis, not just one, thank you for having a great brewery, but thank you for opening it up to us for us to kind of test out this theory of this idea we have for what we would like to try to call a good time. So yeah, I mean, look, for those that might be watching, places outside of Texas that are going to find us on the internet, tell us a little bit about more how they can learn about Franconia beer, where they might be able to find it, and then of course all your social jazz, so that way we can kind of get that out there for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Franconia is out there in the market. We're all over Texas. We started off with draft only, so we have a little bit more stronger draft presence out there.
Okay.
You will find us not just in the craft beer bars. You will find us at your local sports bar and all the easy drinking neighborhood bar as well. So definitely worth
When it's
to check it
29
out.
degrees?
When it's 29 degrees and the Bud Miller and Coors would freeze, our beer will still pour. So that is for sure. And yeah, I mean, if you like to enjoy your beer at the house at a good temperature around 42 degrees, then hey, go to your local grocery store and pick some up. And if you have a problem finding it, there are two ways to help us out. Ask the beer buyer at your local grocery store to get the product in, or give us a call and let us know when you want to have the product, and we'll get right on it.
Right on. And the Cam, how can people get in touch with you? Are you on the internet?
Yeah, I am on the internet. I am at brewer_Cam on the Twitters. I don't Facebook as often these days.
One day, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm behind the times that way.
He does have a hidden camera in the chat room.
I do, so that's a website we can talk about a little longer. That's for the second webcast. That's for the
After hours.
after dark.
After hours.
No, yeah.
Dance up, dance up!
Get ready, card ready.
Find out where I am talking about beer type things.
I like it. Well, cool, yeah. Obviously, again, thank you guys so much for this. For those of you guys that are watching archived, to those of you here, we are The Proper Pint. You can find us, theproperpint.co is the website. Of course, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, all those kinds of fun stuff, so you can find us there. We are looking for sponsors. I know, again, we've talked about it. Like, yeah, sure, we don't know exactly what's going on right now, and we're going to figure that out. We're going to come back and talk about all the problems, but what we want to do is we want to have this show be about a monthly show where we can kind of come into a brewery and we can do this. We can have a little bit more of an intimate setting and talk with the brewers and find out not just the stuff they talk about on the tour, which has been great because you had some really good information on your tour. But since then, tonight we've been able to talk about a lot more, which is great. And I think that information is crucial and fun for us to know. So
I think it's important making this a fun and educational.
oh, that's the idea. It's the fun, yeah. F-U-N, maybe another N.
Another in, yeah.
Like
Another in.
another N.
Another in.
Hi-yo. So that's what we're trying to do here. So again, like the proper pint. The good thing is you guys can sign up for our newsletter. Hopefully you guys would head to the website. What the newsletter is going to do for you isn't spam. It literally is just going to be if you do move forward with another show. And obviously we're hoping to do that. We've been in touch with a couple different breweries, and that's cool. But if anybody out there was thinking that, hey, I'm in touch with people that might want to be a sponsor of this show, obviously please reach out to us for that. We're going to see how this moves forward. It'd be great if we could do just in about a month, add another brewery, maybe, wherever. It'd be fun. But if nothing else, I'm going to keep drinking with Dennis. I'm going to keep drinking with the KM because this has been a fantastic time. So thank you very much for tuning in to The Proper Pint, obviously our pilot show. Hopefully we'll see you guys on the internet. If nothing else, we'll see you at the beer. You guys have fun.
Household number.
Okay. Go to Frankfurt.
Okay. That's right between